Well, hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today is our first video in a couple of days because I took some time off just for being really busy. I've been trying to keep up with the extra video game videos, and to which I probably should be announcing very quickly a poll for the month of December. So if you are checking out this video and you're hearing about that, go check out the poll. It's on the community section under my posts. And I do recommend that you vote this time around for some extra content through the month of December. I think it'll resonate with this channel quite nicely. Speaking of resonation, I am not resigning myself quite yet to being out of content to talk about, because December has obviously got something coming, and here's the teaser image. Now, this was released yesterday, and the reason why I didn't do a video is because there's nothing to talk about yet. It's essentially just a image saying, hey, December 1st at midnight, Final Fantasy XIV collaboration is returning, with everything that has come with it. Looks like units are just the 2 units, but we have 4 vision cards. So there will be stuff to talk about, and there will be, of course, I imagine, some nice upgrades for our incredibly old characters, probably a la Final Fantasy Tactics, and that should be quite exciting for some people. I think the Tactics upgrades were pretty substantial. So yes, for people who are curious, I mean, that was released on the 26th. This video is being filmed on the 27th, and we got no news today. We got no news about Final Fantasy XIV or any of the stuff, so if you're wondering about that, probably still going to be tomorrow at the earliest, because that would put Saturday night right at the changeover to Sunday. That's when the collaboration would be starting, so probably one more day till we get the news dump. So expect that news dump tomorrow, talking about that everything that we will be seeing for the beginning of December, which should be pretty substantial. And then continuing through December, we have the new collaboration at the end of the month, which is an off collaboration. You know, maybe Persona. Last year was Nier, right? So we'll see what that is. But I'm expecting the row of upgrades to keep on rolling into the new year of 2025, especially because they've been seen as quite positive. So let's talk about a few other things that I've been dying to get off my chest and talk about for the last little bit. Content-wise, there are some things that I have regretfully not had time to delve into, such as, excuse me, the LeBlanc challenge, which for all intents and purposes is actually fairly challenging and different from other events. I would have loved to have done something on that. I just haven't found time for it. And of course, I am interested in making a video, not necessarily a guide, but is this really all that more difficult? Again, when I'm filming this, don't quite have the time, and this isn't the overly big topic for this video. But those are on the way in the future. Also, I'm down 6k Lapis just because I went for the select a free vision card, no paying for this guy, and I ended up choosing this little creature's vision card. So I don't know, not super important, but for people who are curious, that's what I went with. Now, all of that out of the way, let's talk about Guild Battle. Guild Battle is something that I have touched on recently about the top guild. I recently did a video where I was talking about the top guild and the best guild in the entire JP side, the whaliest of all the whales, the ones who outperform everyone else. And I'm talking, of course, well, not about Avalon, I'm talking about the other one. And more recently, like, people were it was like Jaden, Yuna, and I believe Summer Resnick. And it's interesting because that has actually changed in the last little bit. Globalers, I do understand that you'll want a final recommendation of Yuna or Riku before the collaboration ultimately starts in the month of December for you. But the thing is that it's kind of hard right now because we seem to be having a little bit of a disagreement about who or what is best. And taking a look at the top guild, we once again are seeing a fully walled out opposing team by a single set of characters. And this is interesting because if we took a look at what it was before, Jaden was in there. And now Jaden is out, actually. Jaden is out, and I do think that it was Summer Resnick before, if I remember correctly. Let me just double check that. So yeah, I paused the video, I double checked on it, and I was correct in my memory that the previous team that was being entirely used by the top team in JP was Summer Resnick, Yuna, and Jaden, the new Overlord Jaden. And that seemed to be really, really strong. But now we have got a team that is essentially looking better, which is this team right here of Yuna, Luciel, and Cloud. And I know there are offensive and defensive teams, but this is a stronger showing than the previous time against Avalon. The previous time against Avalon, it was 90-90, so incredibly close, down to the wire sort of thing. And here we're seeing a much more clear-cut victory of Yuna, Luciel, and Cloud. And this is interesting because arguably any team that the top team or the top guild would decide uniformly was just the best team to the point that everybody said it the same, well, that would be cause to be very interested in. But here we have this now change team, which seems to be outperforming the other team. And perhaps, Avalon will respond in kind by changing their teams up to be addressing this. What we might actually be seeing is not a uniformly, entirely one unto itself team that is just completely powerful in JP. Instead, we might be seeing a rotating pattern of the top guild is essentially changing their play style a little bit so that Avalon is not capable of knowing, like, there are, next time they're going to be expecting Luciel, Cloud, and Yuna, and the following time maybe they'll change it back. Maybe they'll change it back to Ice Jaden. But it is interesting, for all intents and purposes, that over a short period of time, the two of the strongest guilds would meet multiple times, and with Jaden removed and Summer Resnick removed, two characters that are arguably incredibly strong and chosen what are by most tiers to be overall weaker of Luciel and AC Cloud, the performance is much higher. And again, shifting, map considerations, all of these things matter in terms of what units are being placed and in what order they are being placed. And I think all of that is really, really important to remember here. I'm sure that Avalon does their homework and does it very well. It's not just money spending, because both of these teams are so invested in the game that I am sure that they are complete, if not mostly complete, collections for every single user in this grouping. But I do think that it is a very interesting point that Yuna is the one character that seems to be being kept. It's not Riku. You look at the opposing team, we have Summer Resnicks, we have Exias. You see a lot of characters that you would expect. You even see Yuna, Jaden, and Luciel, which is very similar to a previous team that we saw the top guild using not that long ago. But I do think it's quite impressive that Yuna seems to be uniformly agreed between multiple weeks as the unit that they are working the hardest to keep. This is not as necessarily the easiest to optimize when teams are this strong, and you effectively have like so many potential good characters, plenty of top tier characters out there to choose from, as I'm sure all of these characters do, but you are hyper fixated on keeping Yuna in the team, and that really to me says a lot about how potentially great Yuna actually is, that she is the one character that they seem to agree between multiple teams and have turned out incredibly high performance both times, with this time potentially being over, the weekend, being optimized, being figured out for the current situation, and it has turned a even better result by removing Jaden and removing Summer Resnick. That kind of speaks to a lot of stuff here. You could do a ton of analysis about this, about how the lack of Summer Resnick speaks to potentially a shift in what is needed in teams, where up high Sephiroth is not remotely a consideration anymore, and as such Summer Resnick is just not something that they consider being used either. Either way, I mean, there's a lot that you could infer from this, and without spooling over matches and watching and talking to the top members, which I'm sure is not something that they are overly interested in doing, because it is hyper competitive. You don't want your opponents to know about everything that you're thinking. You want to be the one who is dictating the game, not Avalon in this case. But yeah, if there is something to note from all of this, I think it is that I will probably, I don't want to say definitively yet, because until Global gets the announcement of the Final Fantasy X-2 collaboration, which not yet, but soon, I don't want to make a final judgment call quite yet, because I am still keeping my eyes on this. I do have to shout out Hey Bro again from my Discord, who has been giving me this information, and I appreciate it a ton. But it is probably looking like, with the combination of Yuna and the Final Fantasy XIV collaboration coming back, which has a lot of strong light vision cards in it, might be a very good consideration. Maybe next year going to be the year of the light element. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Take care. We'll do the news more than likely tomorrow. And yeah, later. Oh, check out that poll with the important vote on it.